What's going on, everyone? My name is Tim and I welcome you to the Warehouse Series, the only place that you're going to get online training. And not only that, you're going to have a warehouse community backing you up over at Discord. And I mean, it's just something unique. You know, you're going to have tons of people working in warehouses all over the world helping you out at your new job. Where can you get that? Only here, okay? So if you're not a member of Discord or if you're not a subscriber to my channel, if you could do that, I'd appreciate it. Discord, that link is in the description below. Today, we're gonna be going over my 4 selection tips for today. Now, some of this stuff might be repetitive. These are the first selection tip is actually from one of my earlier videos I talked about, and someone said, can you reiterate it because it's something important? And that is stripping pallets down. As you can see right here on this pallet right here, I mean, this juice is stripped down. Why is this bad? Well, one, it is actually not hard when they put a full pallet in there to select layer by layer. It's not that difficult. It's actually very easy. This makes it harder, but people just think of themselves and they don't think of whenever it gets like this, and now I come and I got to grab one of these stupid cases and I pull one and the whole thing just comes tumbling down on me. So it could cause injury and it could cause damage, and it's just ridiculous. And about 98% of the pallets in our warehouse look like this. Here's another one right here. I mean, look at the sparkling water, all the way from the top layer, stripped all the way down. Why? Because of laziness, that's why. Because we want to grab what's closest to us, and we don't care about the next selector. When I first started in the warehouse, we cared about the next selector. And if you didn't care about the next selector, the senior people in the building will damn sure let you know that this is not how we do things. Unfortunately, warehouse have changed. People don't care anymore, but this should stop. But hey, it's my first selection tip. Layer by layer, guys. You should be selecting layer by layer. All right, my second selection tip is whenever you have shippers. You can see in this picture right here, we have a shipper. We have one shipper. People love to lay shippers on their sides. They are not meant to lay on their sides. I get why you lay them on their sides, because we get this Parmesan shipper first. I had this with my trainee, and as soon as you move, the thing falls. All right, fine, let it fall. And when you get the next case, which we got that Clorox that's right behind it, set your shipper back up and pin a case right up behind it. I don't care how big the case is or whatever it is, your first case should be right behind that shipper to make sure it doesn't fall again. So, and then your goal is to bring the rest of the pallet to meet the top of that shipper. I always like these because it's a challenge, and more than likely, I'm gonna try to meet that shipper, and I usually get somewhere around it. Here's another picture with a couple shippers. We got a Kellogg shipper here. We got a shipper down here. You can see they are upright. They are not on their sides. And then they brought the rest of the pallet to meet the shipper. Look how close they got with the Kellogg's, a couple litters, a box here with a bag on top. They got pretty level going across there. That is the goal. You put your shipper up, put cases behind it, and then you try to get the rest of the pallet to meet those shippers. So when you have shippers, do not lay them on their side. That is my second tip for today. Let's get on to the third. All right, before we get on to that third pick, remember, whenever you see my surveys, whenever you're scrolling through, I really appreciate the people that take time to do my surveys. It's very important to me, those surveys. And you guys are responding to me, and you're making my decisions a lot easier on what I'm going to be doing with this channel, so I appreciate that. The third tip here. Know when you have a unit pick. These gelatins are a whole case. As you can see, we are missing 2 gelatins out of the front of this box right here. If it's not a unit pick is sometimes you will have open boxes like this, and usually there are signs up in our warehouse that will say unit pick, take 1, and you would pull one of these gelatins out. If it is not specified, or if you were unsure, ask somebody, because I'm sure most warehouses have unit picks. All right, I've seen a couple videos online where people have unit picks. This is not a unit pick in our warehouse. So you need to take the whole case. All right, imagine a store ordering what's in there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 12, and they get 2. So, yeah, or actually, if they took 2 of them, they probably wanted 2 cases, so they wanted 24 of them, and they got 2. So make sure you're aware of your unit picks. Another thing is the LaCroix, believe it or not. And I know our trainers tell them to take the whole case. If you select LaCroix, you know they come in that cardboard, little cardboard piece where the two cases are in one. I cannot tell you how many times I pass LaCroix slots and there's one LaCroix missing out of the case. Guys, 2 LaCroix is a case. Ask about your unit picks. All right, if you're unsure, ask another selector in the warehouse. So that's my third tip, is be wary of these unit picks. You know, you don't need to be setting 1 case of LaCroix when they wanted 2 cases. So that's my third tip. Let's get on to the fourth tip. All right, so my fourth tip is also something you might have seen in the past, and that is this right here. I got a salary box that has an open part to the side of it, okay? It's only on one side. Anytime you get a box that got an open side like this, you want it facing towards the inside of your pallet. You do not want it facing outside, because when you put a box on top of that, it's gonna lean towards that open side. And if we are gonna lean towards that open side, we want it leaning inward so we can lean up against other cases. And if you have 2 of them, I do this. I face them towards each other. That way now my 2 cases are giving me 1 strong case, if that makes sense. So whatever I put on top of this, I don't have to worry about it leaning anywhere. My 2 open ends are hugging each other, and I'm making 1 case out of both of them. With that being said, this is another part that I don't like. Now, you can call me a little crazy about this. You know, maybe sometimes I get a little ridiculous with some of my things, but if I have an open flap, like you do on this V8, I turn it around. Because an open flap is easily gonna come apart. It'll come apart a lot easier than the other part that's actually still has a glued flap on. So I will turn that case around, which I did. This was actually a Chinese pallet, so I turned that around. And then the white box, you could see, the box is slightly damaged. Doesn't mean we can't select the case. It's got a slit going across, but it is gonna make it a weaker box. So do not have that facing out. I face it in. So those are a couple examples right there. I'm going to give you a couple more examples of not when the face case is to the outside of the pallet. You want them facing in. All right, so on this one right here, this is a very poorly built pallet. Let's get that out of the way. Very, very, very poor built pallet. But let's look at the 2 arrows. I don't like turning paper towels on their sides. They are weak boxes, although there's not much weight on top of this with just another paper towel. The bottom box isn't a horrible problem. Although those flaps still can open up, it's not a horrible problem. But the one up above, when you have these ones with the bigger opening, they are, even though this is on top, the chances of this flap coming open and product falling out are actually a lot greater than you actually think. So I would rather stand this upright. All right, the other thing I want to talk about is right here, these gravy train bags or charcoal, anything to that nature. You know, I see people with the top of these bags facing towards the outside of their pallet. Well, if you throw this stuff, you know, there's like nothing on the top of those bags. So if you put a case on top of it, it's immediately going to fall to the left or to the outside of the pallet. I turn every bag that I throw, I don't care what it is, bakery, potatoes up and perishable, it doesn't matter. Onions, the tops of those bags are always facing towards the middle. I do it for 2 reasons. 1, because of what I just said, the tops of the bags are slimmer, and I want that slimmer part facing towards the inside. I don't want the bulk of it facing towards the inside because my cases are going to rock outwards. I want them rocking towards the middle of the pallet. And the second thing is if the bag pops open, the contents stay in the bag. If you have the top of the bag facing towards the outside of the pallet and the contents pop open, or the bag pops open, now your contents are going to be coming out on the floor instead of not going anywhere. I hope that makes sense. So there's really 2 tips right there. Turn all your bag flaps facing inwards, and also, and that'll help you not build a bad pallet going outwards. The last thing I want to talk about is this case right here. Not only is this case on its side, but it shouldn't be facing outwards like this. Anything that is perforated, usually shippers or display items, you know, the boxes could be used for display, have a perforated line going around so they can rip it open and stick it on the shelf, and you know, you could pick out of it. Anything that has a perforated line, I do not like it facing towards the outside. I always face it towards the inside, or in this case, it would be on top. It shouldn't even be on its side because it's a weaker side and it can pop open. All right, so that's it for today, guys. So beware of stripping pallets, beware of your shippers, beware of unit picks, and beware of that weak side. The weak side of that case should always be facing on the inside. I appreciate you guys for watching. I will see you guys next time. Have a great day.